recently. He's kind of dropped the ball tourney after tourney, which sucks to see because the guy has been trying so hard to claw his way back. Like, because Rikzz at some point used to like really be like a mainstay top 8 player along with Kinzo from like the German side. Like it was like Nikki, Kinzo, Rikzz, like where during the times when Ice wasn't active. And I want to see that Rikzz come back here and show Fraser Crane who's boss. So
this feels like it may be like a case of exactly what you're talking about. This is a very good set for Rikzz to sort of securely take and be like, no, I am still one of these top-end players. Because R23 is one of those like just very, very strong EU players, but we don't expect to see him like, you know, beating the top 10 of EU.
Yeah, exactly. He's like a solid midfield guy.
Yeah.
And Rikzz, on the other hand, I mean, he also is like, because I remember I remember I saw him actually playing a lot against Glory in the German-speaking regions, and he always used to have like really, really close sets back in the day, but never managed to, you know, bring it home because Glory is just so good as a player overall. But then Rikzz, at some point, he just started taking it, and then he took it again. And at some point, he just had to, like, Glory had to accept that Rikzz is just a menace and somebody he should be scared of in bracket. And I kind of want to see Rikzz take that further, because a guy working as hard as him definitely deserves to just, like, keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
And
it's worth knowing as well that whilst I do agree that R23 was like, he had a prime of his, well, I don't want to say prime because he couldn't get back to it, but there was definitely like a active period of his career where he was like on the grind. Recently, he's joined Combs Academy. I think he's being coached by Armster. So, you know, he's putting time back into the game. You know, he's with like a very solid coach. No doubt he's going to be in like a strong position. So this wouldn't be a bad loss for Rikzz if this were to happen.
Definitely, yeah. I think either of these guys are extremely happy if they beat the other one.
Yes.
And they also wouldn't be bummed out if they lost to each other. Because, I mean, imagine, like, you finish your turnaround and you're like, oh, yeah, I lost to Rikzz. Like, I lost to R23. Like, nobody's going to be like, what? It's so bad. Like, nobody's going to tell that, right?
Yeah. But, it's one of those situations where if they were to lose, if whoever loses, the people watching will go, wow, the person that won is really good.
Yeah.
Like, there'll be no disrespect for losing to either of these players.
Definitely. But right now, R23 making a case again for why he wants to be the happy guy after this set. So, very strong punish for him. Yep.
Man, that was really good keeping that going. There's a few situations where that could have dropped, so.
Yeah, I think. Also, I really like the Armster tech and how he covered it with like 2 jabs afterwards. So
yeah.
That's really sweet stuff from R23. But yeah, I think this is kind of the point where like Fox is at low percent and has the stock lead. You're running out of CC options, and this is kind of where the matchup becomes a living nightmare for Sheik. Because especially Dreamland, while it is this, I'd say the neutral stage to almost even slightly Sheik favored, I'm not so sure. I think that still Fox is. It's more so that like Sheik doesn't have good stages; he just has stages that are less bad in this matchup, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
But wouldn't put it past R23 to kind of rise above that paradigm and take the fight up to Rikzz. So I think we're going to go to either Fountain because the like mini slopes are really good against the wave shines when coming back on stage, or either Battlefield, which is just the platform layout is so good against Sheik because just her having like that. Which is funny because Sheik always, as a character, she has like really good buttons, like you know, like her tilts are normal. It's kind of like a fighting game top tier, but her character physics are poor, so bad.
Agreed.
Short hop and full hop look exactly the same. She's a fast faller for getting comboed, and a floaty when it comes to movement, which is just so unlucky.
I think that's also like a really good way to think about why Sheik is so good against the lower tiers. Like as soon as Sheik's playing a character that kind of shares those bad like attributes in terms of jumping and everything else, then it's just like, oh, you're just the best. You are better in every regard now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the weaknesses of like the floatiness and the jump is so big, but when you're playing a character that shares those weaknesses, it's like, oh no, just Sheik's just better in every regard now.
Yeah, and I mean, also the thing I noticed is that one thing that Sheik actually has as strength is like her recovery is very good. Against Fox, she is so exploitable, which also is like a huge factor. And then like getting down against Fox is also a nightmare, which is like it's either that or only Marth, which really gets like abused for landing options.
Yeah.
And I just don't see a scenario where Sheik is like really winning unless she already gets the grab on Fox. I mean, but then she puts on the hurt, which makes the matchup, I think, bearable. Otherwise, without the punish game, I think this would be nigh unwinnable, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see it the same way. Like, it's pretty, like, there are, I think that's the gist of fighting Fox. Like, every character in the game, I would say almost every character in the game is in this situation where Fox is better than you in neutral. He's going to win neutral more, but the question is your punish game stronger?
Yeah.
Or can you keep
stronger
up
than
with
Fox is on top of that, right? It's not like Fox has a weak punish game of his own.
No, he really doesn't.
But I like how R20, like, this is already way closer than game 1. Or at least it feels closer, I could say.
Yeah.
I like very much that. I mean, R23 just seems very comfortable around the platforms. So
super good.
Oh, and very good DI out from Rikzz. But
that's actually a pretty hard angle.
Unfortunately.
I think he started that up B too soon. I think that he made that very hard for himself. Ooh.
Oh, but Rikzz very aware of the mix-up where you can kind of land inside of Sheik and then Sheik has to really guess it's a hard 50-50 to guess on which side you're going to land of Sheik because there's not really like a visual indicator before you will be placed post down throw.
Also, I've just noticed like the last 3 neutral wins was R23 short hopping but not fast falling his aerials. And I think it's going to be crucial to see whether Rikzz can adapt to these like short hops, these non-fast fall short hops. And how will R23 like start to use the fast falls again to keep that strategy working?
Also, stellar edge guard again once from Rikzz, but yeah, as you said, the slow falls are just so good at taking space without having to commit.
Yeah.
And again, we see there, he just kind of mixed him up on his timing.
Yep.
On the getting
and
out of shield.
As soon as they're waiting for the slow fall, then the fast falls actually start working. The fast fall areas kind of like net you a lot more kills.
And what's also interesting, what I actually really liked from R23 is he did one of the shield mix-ups, which I think are really used by like high-level Sheiks like him or Gloria or Amsta, is, you know, you have like the jab mix-up on shield, right? But that is not very, very safe. Yeah. So instead, what you can do as Sheik is actually jab into up tilt. And that is a massive timing mix-up for covering every option out of shield, because unless you perfectly like crouch cancel out of shield or hit the perfect timing between their up tilt hits, you're gonna get comboed heavily out of it. So this is a dangerous spot, but very good shortened by R23, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one to lose, but solid stuff from Rikzz. He held it down.
He did. He played that well. It did feel like, though, there were a lot of adjustments that R23 was making that were proving fruitful in that match. I think he benefited from Battlefield, like having access to those platforms, so he could use his. Because I think a lot of like his success was in how he was using his aerials and how he was moving around with his aerial drift. It didn't look like Rikzz had a super strong answer for it. So the fact that the platforms were close to him, that he could just kind of retreat to them, unlike on Dreamland where they're so far away that he has to really commit to the jumps. So I'd like to see another like him stick to those stages. Nice.
Yeah, so as you said, sticking to his guns.
Ooh. Yeah, the way he's moving around platforms, I think, is very good.
Yeah, and I mean, I like that. That was just he got him out of crouch cancel percent so cleanly, and this is kind of where like he unlocks neutral basically. Yeah. Because he's just not forced to only use like space back airs and grabs or like needle shenanigans, and hope that Rikzz messes up. Meanwhile, Fox kind of always gets to play like neutral.
Yes. It looked like the ledge was kind of given to him then. These are really good shots.
Yeah, he's been very strong about mixing Rikzz up on his recovery.
That was a painful grab. That's the he he hasn't really gotten, or R23 hasn't gotten much success of his grab game, which is pretty important in Sheik Fox.
Yeah,
It's literally what you were saying at the start, that if Sheik doesn't have a punish game, then it's just an abysmal matchup.
yeah, because I mean, right now Rikzz is, despite I think R23 getting a massive lead, and then again, it's always kind of hard to just open up like the tough nut to crack that is Fox at low percent as Sheik.
Yes.
Here we go. That's a good beginning. Ooh, dash attack, very good DI out.
Okay. I really like the bait to ledge. If he would have fooled me. Rikzz not falling for it though. Nice.
It's with another classic to tie it up, halftime. Ooh. I'm always so impressed by like people power shielding and then always disappointed when they do like nothing out of it.
Oh, I know what you mean.
This is a dangerous spot, but I would have liked turnaround needles there to kind of cover the ascent from Fox.
Yeah. This is it does feel like R23 has just kind of picked up. It feels like he's learned something in neutral because like a lot of his punish has kind of relied on him making reads in neutral, or like he'd get a punish and then they would be strung together by reads. But he just seemed to have kind of picked up on what Rikzz wants to do. If he can take this game, then I'm actually kind of confident for him going forward.
Ooh, I don't like the falling upper there. I mean, I also have to say, I'm actually quite surprised that this is so close, despite R23, I think, missing every single edge guard so far, if I'm not mistaken. Except for, like, the ones where, like, Fox has no resources, he hits, like, the F tilt fair. But we haven't really seen any games, like, below 90%.
Agreed. There's been no gimps and no, like, omega strong, like, chain grab. Sorry, not chain grab, tech chase.
Tech chase, yeah. Oh, but speaking of the devil... Oh wow, Satana Tui. I summoned the... Oh no, drops it. His prayers were not heard.
I mean, it's one of those things. If R23 is to watch this back and be like, oh, what can I work on? There is like this very clear... You may have just taken... You may have taken this game if the punish game was just a bit stronger. Or, like, you got more off the grabs. It was unfortunate to see, like, a grab at, like, 5% down throw into nothing. Into, like, his whiffed grab. So he didn't even get advantage from that position. Yeah, I don't... And as a ICs who's terrible off grabs, there's not me being like, oh, it's easy. But, when you're playing level players of these caliber, suddenly every exchange counts. Especially with Fox as well. Especially with Fox.
Yeah.
But yeah, really well played by Rikzz. Really well played. That must give him some confidence.
I think so too, yeah. So I think quick little update so far. So if you wanted to see Fuzzy make it far, I have bad news for you, unfortunately. Because he bit the dust against his fellow UK mate